Hey, it's me, RJB, coming in post-live to bring you some very short matches between Voss and GangNamlife. And as you can see here in the replay file, there is a lot of Voss versus GangNamlife from the month of January. Here they even played 16 games in a row, and a lot of those games are pretty darn long, like 30 minutes to 40 minutes long. So I'm just going to grab the first two replays, maybe put in one of the other shorter replays that are about 11 minutes long, and I'm going to cast them. And of course, as most people know by now, Voss is JH in Starcraft world, and GangNamlife is just known as GangNamlife. He is a very good player. I'd even say he's better than JH. Not sure if he's better than Lee Bok-gu, also known as Gold SCV, but he is up there. He's really good, and he has some really solid play styles. He can do pretty much everything. He's got solid micro. He is, though, one of those players who starts out with very high APM in the first 10 minutes, and then his APM slowly drops down to about 180, which I can't really explain because his APM is also really high in the early game. Really high. It's up to like 230, 250 sometimes. So he is definitely capable of just like ramping out that very high APM non-stop. But he slows himself down, seemingly very deliberately. So he has more focus on the strategic aspect of the game, instead of trying to brute force his way into the enemy base or into a win with his high APM and multitasking ability. Instead he just, well, sometimes tends to take it slow after the first 10 minutes. Voss, Blue Protoss here on the top side, of course. GangNamlife on the red Terran. Starts off with that 8-10 deep barracks. As usual, we're probably not going to be seeing anything out of the ordinary. I do know that GangNamlife is one of the few players who, much like JH/Voss, likes to play very aggressive with his Terran. Sometimes it backfires and he suicides all of his units into cannons there in the front, usually around here, but Voss is delaying his cannons in the front. He started off with, well, actually, he's actually doing everything as he should be doing it. Pylon, Nexus, Forge. Of course, with the probe, you go to the front and make a pylon. So he's doing everything as it should be. GangNamlife also doing everything as it should be. Starts off with a single barracks, then making a second one. Nothing out of the ordinary. Well, yeah, quick little thing that I wanted to mention. My country is pretty much on complete lockdown. They closed like all the restaurants, all the bars, all the gyms, schools, everything is closed because of Corona. It's pretty much just the grocery stores that are left open, and probably some of the other stores that sell essential stuff. So on that note, I hope you're all okay. I hope none of you get the coronavirus, and if you do, I hope that you don't get any long-lasting results because of it. Like, you don't get hurt too much, you don't get too sick, you don't die. I hope you all stay somewhat healthy and functional, because that would be great. So just a heads up for you guys. Even though I don't really know you, I hope you all stay healthy. Also, on that note of everything being shut down and people pretty much being confined to their houses and their living rooms, I'm going to be casting a lot more games because I've been playing some League of Legends lately, and I kind of don't like it. So I'm just, well, Starcraft is also pretty dead these days on Battle.net. There's not many games to be played, even though everyone is pretty much in quarantine right now. There aren't that many games, so I'm just gonna focus on casting more games, because there's not that much to do when you're locked up inside your house for, well, the foreseeable future. All that aside, though, let's get back into the game. I've said what I wanted to say. Marines there in the front. SCV just running circles, getting information, keeping that Zelda busy. Voss, of course, going for that 3 gateway build with the Dragoon range, as he often likes to do. Single robotic facility. Not too sure if this is going to work. He still only has 2 cannons there in the front. And it looks like GangNamlife isn't planning on breaking through the front, because his marine count is quite low. He discontinued marine production for a little while to save up some minerals for that double command center, then adding on a very late academy. Of course, engineering bay coming in there as well. The information that GangNamlife was getting inside of Voss's base tells him that he knows, tells him that Voss is going for Dragoons. He's got Dragoon range on the way. He's making another wave of Dragoons as well. So 5 Dragoons in total. GangNamlife seems to be underprepared because he is not expecting the offensive move from Voss anytime soon. He's even going for... Oh, that's the factory. I thought it was going for a double engineering bay, but it's a single one. 4th barrack on the way. Factory almost finished up. He does not have bunkers here in the front. Dragoons are already on the way, ready to go for the kill. The marine count is very low. Medics are now on the way. Medics about to rendezvous with the marines. Will he be in time? There, the Dragoons coming in. Dragoons start the attack. GangNamlife pulling back to his choke. He does not have a bunker yet. He's pulling... He should be pulling more SCVs to the front, but he is not. Instead, he's electing to fight back with the Marines against the Dragoons before the Dragoon range comes up. The Dragoon range is coming up in a couple of seconds. Can GangNamlife turn this around and stay alive, or is he going to lose most of his Marines? So he's now... Right, now the Marine count is higher, so he can fight back. Dragoons pulling back. More Dragoons are on the way. GangNamlife decides not to chase, because he knows that if he goes out into the open, the Dragoons can get microed back with starter stabs quite easily, and pick off those Marines without really getting much damage back on them. This is a race against the clock now, though, because he needs the tanks, he needs the siege mode, if he wants to repel this attack, because his Marines are dying very quickly. He does not have range yet. Let's keep that on timer there on the bottom, so we can see when it will be up, and it will be up in time. He's only got 2 SCVs there in the front. He's not pulling any more to the front. He's focusing completely on defending, but 2 SCVs is not enough to fight against all those Dragoons. So now he stims in. He's going to try to take the focus away from the bunker, but as a result, he is losing most of his Marines. Not that smart of a move from GangNamlife. He's really mishandling the situation. If he just pulled 2 more SCVs to the front, he could easily keep repairing the bunker. But now he is forced to keep sacrificing Marines to zone those Dragoons away in order to keep the bunker alive. But as a result, his unit count is abysmally low. Whereas Voss already has 2 Reavers finished up. He's got more Dragoons on the way here, very steadily pumping them out. He's got level 1 weapon upgrade 4 ground units on the way as well. There is the tank. The tank has zoned the Dragoons away, but siege mode has not yet finished, so he's keeping the tank there in the back. Tank range is... like, unsieged tanks are pretty strong against Dragoons specifically. Like, oftentimes on normal maps, people just make 2 tanks and help support the bunker with the unsieged tank and zone the Dragoons away until the siege mode comes up. So that is a small thing, small detail also to keep in mind, that unsieged tanks are stronger than a Dragoon. But Double Reaver coming in. GangNamlife has got nothing in the back. He's not pulling his SCVs away yet. There come the Reavers on the low ground. GangNamlife is now responding by splitting up his SCVs, trying to bug the Scarabses, which is working at the moment. In come the Marines. It looks like Scarab AI is the decider of this game. He tries to micro the Reaver, but oh, actually, he actually worked out. He's really microing that really well. Reaver stays alive, letting maximum amounts of damage. There's nothing there in the back. He's now pulling units from the front to the back because he wants to stop this Reaver from killing too much stuff. Tank there on the low ground. Tank is taking a bit of damage, but the tank eventually comes out on top with the help of the Marines. But the frontal attack is soon to be happening as well. Or so I assume. Another Reaver coming in. He's got a single Reaver in there. He's not pulling his SCVs. He's not paying attention all that well. Marines now stimming down. Can the Reaver get a good shot off? Nope, not yet. They gets micro to safety. Eventually there, it doesn't even go down. It stays alive. There, eventually it does go down, but that's a lot of damage. There's a lot of slowing down here. GangNamlife has lost a lot of mining time, has lost a lot of units. He's mishandled that situation pretty badly, even though he didn't lose any SCVs. That situation went pretty bad for GangNamlife. It went really amazingly well for Voss. So 2 more Reavers are on the way here. 3 Reavers. There's number 4, Shuttle as well. He's going to fly in 2, I'm sure. Or he's going to fly in... Yeah, he's going to fly in 2. He's not going to wait for the 2nd Shuttle and this, the 4th Reaver. Adding on more gateways there on the side, just filling out his base very slowly but steadily. Probe count already hitting 64, about 830. Here comes the frontal attack. 2 Reavers there being dropped in the front, go focusing on the bunker. Bunker goes down. Now the Dragoons are going to micro themselves deeper in to focus on the tanks. Gets a tank down. Now the tank stays alive there in the back, but the Dragoon count is pretty darn high. You can just waltz right in there. The bunker there is dealing a lot of damage to the Dragoons. The tank there as well, but now that all the bunkers and depots have gone down, these tanks there are exposed, and there's pretty much no Marines here to help him fight off these Dragoons. This is a really good situation here for Voss. Voss has built himself a huge lead here, and GangNamlife is now pushed back against the wall into a corner, but he can't do all that much. He's forced to pull units to the front. But these upgraded zealots, like they have level 1 weapon upgrade, are dealing a lot of damage to the units here. He's very slowly, well, I wouldn't even call it slowly, he's pretty quickly pushing GangNamlife back into a corner where he realizes he cannot fight back, so he calls a GG, and Voss wins within only 9 minutes and 27 seconds. That was a really solid game from Voss, but also somewhat of a really mismanaged game from GangNamlife, making a pretty huge mistake in the way he handled those Dragoons. The Dragoons did way too much damage to him. Why does he have a physics lab? Was he planning on going for battlecruisers? I'm not sure why he had a physics lab. Anyway, complete mishandlement from GangNamlife, and really well played by Voss, specifically with the Reavers there in the back that got in unseen. Which GangNamlife, just to clarify, even if GangNamlife had seen it, he had no units to defend against it. So he was screwed over anyway. Yeah, so as I said at the start, I'm gonna do a couple of replays between these two. So let's get into replay number 2. Also note, I'm gonna pick the short ones. And as usual, for game number 2, we have a little switcheroo going on, where GangNamlife is now playing on the Protoss, Voss is now playing on the Terran. Something they always like to do, just switching around the races, not really paying too much attention to playing random, or, well, Zerg, to be honest. People don't play Zerg all that often. Terran versus Zerg, Protoss versus Zerg. Happens like 1/5 of the time compared to Protoss versus Terran. I don't like the black color for the Terran, so I'm going to keep it on red versus blue. It's easier to see on the minimap. Yeah. The players just chatting away a little bit. Last game, still fresh in their minds. Let's see if Voss can pull off the Terran versus Protoss win, or if he's going to succumb to the superior fighting prowess of the Protoss in general. Sort of starts with the exact same build. Bottom there as well, nothing out of the ordinary. Just standard build orders from both players. GangNamlife though does have a little bit of a different approach to Protoss versus Terran in terms of what he focuses on. But maybe that's also because Voss honestly has somewhat of a unique Protoss versus Terran build that lately has been working really well. In the past, his Protoss versus Terran was somewhat weak in comparison to most others. But the little stuff with the Dragoons that he does these days, I really like it. It's quite strong, it keeps the focus away. It removes the Terran's ability to be offensive and go on the attack. Keeps them boxed in, so to speak. You can get some real nice pressure up on those bunkers and force the opponent to pull SCVs to the front to defend with and keep repairing, which hurts their economy, of course, slows down their tank a little bit, slows down their base building ability quite a tad. Not too much, maybe 30 seconds to a minute in total, but that can make a difference as long as you can deal damage with the follow-up beats as the Protoss, like with the Reavers and the Storm Drops, all that kind of jazz. If you can keep doing damage, and of course the Dragoons are completely worth it. The Dragoons though do take away some of the transition into the late game, because you're investing more minerals into that offensive capability. So Voss scouts the choke, 3 probes pulled off, chasing the Marine away. Marine of course runs away, doesn't want to die, but the Marine dies to some probe micro, pretty sweet stuff. Cannons now coming up as well. Of course going for the tech route. Double gas. Voss just placing Marines there in front as he always likes to do. He likes to be very aggressive with his Marine placement. Trying to keep the Protoss boxed in, but also trying to keep tabs on how many cannons can I see? How many zealots can I see there in the front? Because if he sees a very low count in both zealots and cannons here in the front, he really loves going for a very early academy, pumping out a bunch of Marines and going for the stim attack on the front. But right now, he discontinued Marine production for a while, only still has 3 Marines. knowing of course that GangNamlife has no offensive capability with that single gateway, which, just for information, he didn't see, but he's assuming is there. Otherwise, the choke would have been delayed. There would be 2 gateways, which means Zealots out and fighting, but there's no Zealots out and fighting, so he's got the information he needs. GangNamlife is going for a big choke, he's going for tech, pylon there on the top side to just spot any barracks being flown over. Double command center for Voss, really wants to boost up his academy there as well. He's now attacking the gateway. Only a single Marine though can get in range. The gateway is pretty important in fighting off a mass attack from the front, because usually you want Marines to line up in a straight line here, but this gateway is kind of ruining that. GangNamlife is going for the exact same thing, making a single Dragoon to help himself defend. Something I've been seeing a lot more lately. In the more recent replays, people go for a single Dragoon, maybe even 3 Dragoons, just to be annoying and bait those Marines in or attack those Marines from a distance, whereas Zealots would have to walk up, take a lot more damage, and then get confined to pretty much just attacking the frontal Marine that's closest to them. And Voss is going for a way smarter choice than GangNamlife did last game around. So already making bunkers there in the front preemptively, just in case that GangNamlife is making a lot of gateways and going for Dragoons, but he's not. But it's always smart to just be cautious and go for that preemptive bunker in the front, so you at least don't have to wait for the opponent to show up at your doorsteps and you having nothing in the front there to help you with defending. Like we saw with GangNamlife last game around, it was really painful for him, kept losing his Marines, whereas Voss is not losing any Marines whatsoever, so he's pretty much on track, doing pretty well. GangNamlife starts adding more gateways. He already has his 2 robotics finished up. He's got no Reavers on the way though. He has a 10+ archive on the way. He's got shuttle speed on the way as well. Still no Reavers in production, although he can't afford it. There's the double Reaver. Flying some Zealots over the wall just to make sure that there's no turrets being made here on the bottom side. Sees that there's no turrets, so he goes in for the scout. He sees that there's something being researched. He knows the gate is already there, so that's Marine range, which is quite standard. Goes in, sees the entire base. There comes the scan from Voss. Voss sees the front here, sees no shuttle. Sees a couple of Zealots there. The shuttle is right there outside of sight, just by pure coincidence. Both players are on track. GangNamlife going for a slightly bit of a different configuration with his gateway placement. And you would usually people make a lot of gateways in this section here. He's making them here. But it's a kind of a redundant bit of information, honestly. Raids are on the way to snipe shuttles. Slowly building that bigger choke. Gonna make depots here in the front. Another bunker there behind the depots, of course. Make it hard for the Protoss to get in. So loads Reavers on the low ground. Picks them back up. Flies back over the hill. Because he heard and saw the Marines coming in. He's gonna fly around and look for another opening. There he goes. Kills another Marine. Picks up the Reaver once again. More shuttles are on the way. Should be just enough. Yeah, 2 shuttles for about 8 units. 2 Dark Templars, 6 Zealots, I assume. Shuttle's still alive. Tried to kill it with the Wraith, but didn't really get much done. Tank there has sieged up. Tank has some shots off on the Reavers. All the units are out of range, so the Reavers not dealing damage back onto that tank. Wraith micros itself back. Doesn't take damage. Great move there from Voss. Doing a great job of keeping GangNamlife from dealing any damage, really. 2 Dark Templars are on the low ground. He should have heard them unload if he didn't. Alright, everything is in range of turrets, so that's kind of falls flat. 7 minutes in, no damage yet. He's gonna look for an opening. Is he gonna fly all the way around? Looks like he's gonna fly all the way around, because the bottom side here has been turreted up by Voss. The top side has not yet been turreted up, but he's already sending a SCV up to make turrets. Yep, there it is. Right, so this is the point where Voss hits critical mass, so to speak. He's on 60 plus SCVs. Really starts to ramp up his economy now. His income is quite stable, quite big. Now you can start adding on more gas, start making more gas buildings like the factories and the starports, and starts to transition away from Marines into tanks, Goliaths, and possibly some raids and dropships as well. Engineering bay there on the top, just to hover over the hill for extended vision. There's still only a single turret there on the top side, but there's a couple of Marines placed there to intercept shuttles. But look like GangNamlife is going for a two-directioned attack because he's saving up a lot of shuttles here. He's got no Stargate for... There is a Stargate, but he's got no Stargate finish yet, so no Corsairs to take focus away. Right there at the top side, scouts the shuttles, which means that he now has to go in. He unloads there at the top side instead of here on the bottom side. So much fortunate and unfortunate because he could have killed those Marines an inch closer to the SCVs and maybe got the shut off, but instead he's going to kill some depots, kill some Marines as well, kill some turrets there on the top side, but he's really just pulling units away to set up for this real drop. The drop comes in at exactly 9 minutes, makes it all the way to the SCVs. SCVs get stormed, SCVs dodging the storm, but another storm comes down as well. He kills about 30 of those SCVs, which was pretty much everything he had on the minerals, because only a couple of them are left alive. Well, that's a huge hit from GangNamlife on Voss. That's what I was talking about. A little bit of a slow, very slow. Took him a while, actually, to get the drop down, but he actually manages to, with the very first drop setup, deal a really good blow onto Voss. And as we can see here, GangNamlife's APM has dropped by about 100 or 150 even. He's really one of those players who slows down after the early game and just goes for more slow coordinated attacks that usually do hit very hard, but it's all a little bit slower than what we're used to seeing from, for example, Hamburger Sasu or 458 or Lee Baku or many of the other players. But it doesn't take away from the effectiveness, because sometimes effectiveness is better than being quick with your attacks. Sometimes you can throw out a lot of attacks, but they're so small that they don't really do anything whatsoever. So sometimes waiting for the right setup, waiting for the right order of actions is way more important. Here he goes in from the top side. Templar there unloads. Templar gets a storm off. Templar misses the storm, but the second Templar actually gets third storm. 3 storms. He kills about 15 SCVs. 3 storms is the charm, it appears. A lot of units there is placed around. Tries to defend really hard. Focuses on the shuttles, but the shuttles get to unload nonetheless. Templar there right next to the SCVs. SCVs get a storms off, and oh, ouch, ouch, ouch. Voss thought he had it, but that last unload right next to the SCVs, absolutely brilliant. Gets a huge storm off, kills about another 20 SCVs. Voss is pretty much broken. But, as Bane once said, you do not yet have my permission to die. First I must break you, or something like that. And with, of course, with the accent that Tom Hardy does so well as Bane. Kind of iconic. You should have never come to this town, Mr. UPS man. That was the worst one I've ever done. Alright, so GangNamlife is very comfortably progressing. His base is somewhat small. He's floating about 3,500 minerals. But he knows that he just has to go through the motions, hit the drops, and yeah, finish the game. Got 4 shuttles loaded up with 3 Templars and about 10 Zealots or so. He's sending out some Dragoons to the top side just to make sure that there's nothing there on the top side, because he knows that there's a couple of raids there. And he wants to clear those raids out. There he finds one, starts killing it, keeps this outside of the vision. He knows that there's no vision there. So he goes in from the little bit to the west side, but he flies another drop in from the bottom side as well. So 2 drops from 2 locations at the same time, storms everything to death. Now he starts unloading on top of the SCVs, gets storms there as well, kills all the SCVs, pretty much only 7 left. And now the Zealots are cleaning up. And that's a GG. Voss does not believe he can do it. So he taps out. And even though GangNamlife is floating a lot of money, even though he's playing it very slow, he played it very slow there. Every single drop he did dealt significant amounts of damage. And whether that is on Voss or whether that is on GangNamlife just pulling off really well coordinated attacks, I can't tell you. I can't tell you. Because in theory, there's always a better way of executing whatever you're doing. There's always also a worse way of executing whatever you're doing. So gotta give credit to both players here. Although Voss, yeah, got the short end of the stick. So that was game number 2. And pretty much just textbook Protoss versus Terran stuff, where the Protoss tends to win if they hit all the beats at the right timings and execute everything as they should. Let's do game number 3. Let's throw one more game in there, just for shits and giggles. I'm gonna try to look for something that is not Protoss versus Terran, something that's Protoss versus Protoss, or Terran versus Zerg, or Zerg versus Protoss, something else. Alright, so in this series of about 7 games that they played against each other, there's 2 games of 30 minutes or longer. One of them is almost 40 minutes, and I might cast them at another day, maybe. Well, this is I'm spoiling it. This is one of the shorter ones once again, and GangNamlife is again on the Protoss. Voss is on the Terran here on the bottom side of the map, and we all kind of know what's gonna be coming. We all kind of know, but nonetheless, it should be somewhat exciting to watch. I hope GangNamlife is a little bit more proactive than last game. A little bit picks up the speed and the pace a little bit more. So although last game his drops were very well executed, his build order was on point, he wasn't as quick as I would like him to be. But he was effective. He was very effective. Voss is going for barrack supply, or is he going for... Looks like Voss is going for mech. Or is he? Is he cheesing? Looks like he's going for barrack supply barrack in the front, which is usually an indicator of a very early rush. There's the second barrack. He's not walling his front off. He's keeping a little bit of open space there in the front. I don't really agree with it, but nonetheless, it's all up to him. So there is the SCV that he's going to be scouting with, 2 SCVs. It looks like he's rushing indeed, but he's expecting GangNamlife to be right next to him. If GangNamlife is not right next to him, this is going to somewhat fall short of the mark. So GangNamlife already has his pylon there in the front, up and running. Forge is on the way as well. And the cannons will be on the way too. GangNamlife already saw the scouting SCVs. And Voss, of course, saw the scouting probe, which gives away GangNamlife's location on the map, because GangNamlife now, Voss now knows that GangNamlife is either at 12 or at 1. And there is the SCV, finds the probe there in the front, probe's being pulled to the front there as well, starts making the bunker, attacking the cannon, but is now forced to attack the probe instead. Probe goes down, but 3 more probes are on the way. Probe's going to try to get a surround off on the Marine, but 2 more another SCV, another Marine arriving on the scene. Cannon is alive, but the cannon is very quickly dying. Actually, all the Marines go down before the cannon goes down. Means the bunker was kind of late, but more Marines now on the way. Cannon has gone down. Cannon is being made there in the back as well. Another cannon is here on the way. And actually, it looks like GangNamlife fights this off. And that's mostly because of the huge amount of distance between the 2 players. Had GangNamlife been here, or maybe here, then it would have been a 1 situation for Voss. Voss actually takes down the cannon there. That I didn't expect that one. I thought, oh, working out really well for Gangnam, for Voss here. Although this cannon is taking down all the Marines. He almost got it. He's gonna get it with these 2 Marines, but then this cannon is gonna come up as well. There goes the cannon. But this cannon is gonna finish up. More Marines are on the way, but the Zealot has spawned as well, which means that in the end, GangNamlife stays alive, but he had to lose 3 cannons and about 4 or 5 probes in the process. But likewise, in the process of being aggressive and trying to attack, Voss himself lost about 3 or 4 SCVs as well. So both players end up losing pretty much everything they invested into attacking or defending. And I'd say that GangNamlife comes out on top because GangNamlife had that +1 Nexus out earlier than Voss. Voss also throwing down a +1 Command Center. He's only on 2 barracks. He lost a lot of SCVs there as well. Academy on the way, another depot on the way, 2 more barracks on the way. He wants to go for 4 barracks in total. Maybe he's going to try to mass up mass marines with medics and try to force his way in through the front. But GangNamlife is not cutting corners. That's what I want to say. Zealot there in the front, getting out, getting attacked, going down. Cannons here in the front almost finishing up, but Voss has to be quick. Which one is he going to attack first? He has to make a hard choice here, but he's going to get all those cannons down before they can do any return damage. But the Zealot's coming in from the back. Actually in range of that cannon as well, meaning he actually loses the fight. Because that cannon there in the back got some shots off. He's microing this pretty well. But eventually the Zealot's scaring the Marines away. So far, Voss has lost a lot of Marines. Whereas GangNamlife has very slowly been progressing forward with his tech progression. He's going for Dark Templars it seems because he's only sticking to a single robotics facility and has not made a support bay. So that's Dark Templars. Definitely is Dark Templars. There's an engineering bay coming out for Voss. He's got a scan on the way as well, so he is prepared for Dark Templars. Factory there as well, still pumping from 4 barracks. Goes in for the attack on the front. That's Robo number 2. There's support bay. Temple's Archive almost finished up. He's making a cannon at his nexus now as well. He's only ahead by 8 probes in total over Voss. Voss's base is starting to look pretty chaotic, but he's pulling off his punches. He's pulling off the aggression. And as I said earlier, most of the time Protoss versus Terran is somewhat the same, but this has already been more exciting in the early phase than most Protoss versus Terran matches have been so far. He's trying hard to be aggressive, but that's a lot of cannons. 5 cannons are in the back. And he doesn't know the exact number. He can throw out his scan and see how many cannons there are. He's got a turret there as a defensive measure. Alright, so 1 Dark Templar has been lifted up. 1 Dark Templar is being flown out of the base. It's going to fly all the way around the map and try to get in here. Or it's going to try to get in here. That's also an option. So he kills the single SCV there, but as a result, it means that Voss knows that GangNamlife does have a Dark Templar out. Dark Templar is mostly going to run back and forth here, trying to intercept every single Marine that's leaving Voss's base, or tanks for that matter. Because that tank, if it arrives on the scene here, it's going to be a bitch. Yeah, it's going to arrive on the scene. He's just going to send it in, try to deal some damage here in the front, maybe take down this SCV that's making a turret, but he cannot physically get through. So he has to first clean out those Marines. Clears out the Marines pretty quick. Now it goes for the SCV. Great multitasking there, but the attack on the front is already happening here. Tank has arrived. Gateway in the front has gone down. Reaver has killed a lot of units there. And the tank stays alive barely. Dark Templar penetrated through. There's nothing there to kill it. There's nothing there to kill it. There's no Marines inside of Voss's base. But he knows that the Dark Templar is on low HP, so he sends it to a corner, keeps it safe. The attacker in the front has been repelled by this Reaver. And something else. Looks like the tank there went down eventually. Dark Templar still running amok. It gets down eventually. Both players have crept closer to each other by a little bit in worker count. 46 against 43, now 48. So yeah, close the gap by about 2 or 3. And now the game goes back into neutral. In the orthodox way of Protoss versus Terran. Voss's aggression did not pay off. GangNamlife handled it really well. Got Zealots coming in through the front. They have speed. Shuttle here looking for a window, but no window there in the back. But there's a window in the front, a huge window here. He gets a great surround off on those Marines. Marines now microing away. Gets him on attack. Now the shuttle comes in because the Marines have been pulled away from the back. Reaver unloads on the low ground, gets a shot off 2 Reavers in fact. Both of them getting shots off, but barely killing any SVs. All the Marines there are going down though, but imagine if those Scarabs had actually exploded on the SVs, the game would have been over. Because look at that, 4 minerals for Voss. 4 minerals. That is absolutely huge. Attack still happening on the front here. But those Zealots cannot get through because that medic is blocking the damn way. But a drop does make it through. 2 Reavers once again. Unloading right on top of the tanks. Gets a shot off on the SCVs. SCVs don't die. Actually, he gets a couple of those SCVs. Because this damn tank right there killed his own SCVs with the splash damage. with the shot on the Reaver. So about 10 of those pesky SCVs go down. GangNamlife builds himself a little bit of a bigger lead over Voss. He's got 30 supply more, even though he's been expending supply. So he's been managing to kill a lot of Marines that Voss had. Voss's unit count is actually scarily low. It's scary how low it is. So yeah, placing more Marines there in the back. He's got a small amount of units here in the front. 2 bunkers, single tank. Only one of the bunkers has been filled up. GangNamlife very, very slowly, as always, preparing his follow-up attack. But this time around, he's spending his minerals very well. He's only on 700 minerals, 800 minerals, soon 1,000. He's still spending it really well, though. He's spending it really well. His base is already bigger than last time around. And what matters more so than big base is effectiveness of your actions. And his actions have been rather effective, even though his Reaver drops have not been hitting all that hard. But so instead of going for the Reaver drop on the minerals, he goes for a Reaver drop in the front. Scarab's getting kill on the tank. He's unloading and reloading those Reavers really well. Takes down the 1 bunker. Now units are forced to the front. And once the units reach the front, he's going in behind enemy lines. Flies in, makes his way in. Which one is it? This one is it. He's unloading the Zealots. Now going for the Reavers as well. Reavers unloading right on top of the SCVs. And the SCVs running away for their lives. But he gets a kill on a couple of them. Even more going down now. Only 40 of them left. Gets another shot up on a couple of those SCVs. SCVs running away, scared for their lives. Luckily, 36 of them are still alive. Reaver there in the back also still alive. There's nothing there to kill it. Marines coming in. The Scarab is bugging out. But he actually does get a lot of them. GangNamlife, being very aware, picks up the Reaver, tries to fly out, unloads it. Another shot comes down on those Marines, and oh, pretty tight play from GangNamlife there. Tight play from Voss as well, managing to minimize the amount of SCVs lost to a minimum. That's really well done. Another frontal attack happening here at the same time. It already has carriers on the way. It's a very quick transition to carriers, unloading his storm drops. Templar's on the low ground. Templar missed the storm. He actually missed the storm. I think this is a miss. I think he missed the storm. It looks like... I mean, the Marines would have gone down. This Templar would have gotten a storm of as well. And I think that even though this storm missed, this storm was going to hit the Zealot. The Templar might have even died before it got the storm off, but it is in the animation of storming. It's in the animation of storming, so this might all have died. Voss might have left a little bit prematurely, but the odds were heavily stacked in favor of GangNamlife. Voss was fighting a very steep uphill battle. He could not keep up with GangNamlife's effectiveness. GangNamlife has been very effective with his attacks. They were pretty smart, pretty standard as well, textbook. Like something that 458 often does is go for a frontal attack, draw units from the back to the front, and once all units from the front, from the back arrive at the front, you go in around and attack the minerals. It's a really smart setup that Koreans really often like to do, and I like to see it, specifically when it's executed in this specific manner. But I know that I kind of deviated from the usual formula of showing an entire series. This time I'm being kind of nitpicky with just grabbing random replays from a series and no real storyline, no real progression in standings. Like now they're 2-1. Oh, another 4-1. Oh, this person has won the series. Because most of the replays between these two are simply too long. I just like GangNamlife as a player. He's pretty good, pretty solid. Not one of those speedy, high APM players, but a smart player who does rather effective moves. And I like that. Effectiveness triumphs speed. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope to see you back soon. I'm going to be casting a truckload of replays. Might even do some League of Legends stuff for fun. So yeah, see you later, alligator.